Assalamu alaikum. Today we're going to start a new surah, which is Surah Ash-Shams, meaning chapter of the sun. So let's start. Ala barakatillahi ta'ala. The first four verses of the surah are, after Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, وَالشَّمْسِ وَالضُّحَاهَا وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَّاهَا وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَاهَا, meaning by the sun and its brightness, and by the moon when it follows it, and by the daytime when it manifests it, and by the night when it envelops it. The first wow is not the famous conjunction and, but it is called wow al-qasam, meaning wow of the oath. That's why it necessarily comes before nouns. And in the first of the speech, it is an alternative of saying I swear by. Arabs use this wow instead of saying uqsum bi, meaning I swear by. In this surah, Allah Ta'ala swears by Ash-Shams. So, Wash-Shams is by the sun, but originally it is Uqsum Bish-Shams, that is, I swear by the sun. Ash-Shams here is the sun. Like many surahs, this one begins with an oath from Allah Ta'ala. He has the right to swear by any object of his creation, be it the sun, the moon, the stars, the dawn, or even the angels. As for us, we are only allowed to swear by Allah Ta'ala alone. Dhuhaha means its brightness. The word dhuha, as used in the original, applies both to the light of the sun and to its heat. Although in Arabic its well-known meaning is the time between sunrise and meridian, when the sun has risen high. At that height it does not only give light, but heat too. Therefore the word dhuha is attributed to the sun. Now its full meaning can be expressed more appropriately by its radiant brightness than by its light, or by the time of the day that it indicates. Now al-qamar here is the moon. Idha is an adverbial of time, means when. The event or circumstance introduced by idha is generally always taking place, it therefore being typically expressed by a verbal sentence with a verb in the past or present tense. Talaha is the verb tala, meaning to follow, in the past tense, in the third singular masculine person, and the last ha is an object pronoun, refers to Ash-Shams. Now this verb belongs to the basic form of verbs, and it is a defective verb, which consists of two strong radicals and a final weak radical.
النهار
Here is the day. Jallaha is the verb jalla, that is to make it manifest or to illuminate in the past tense, in the third singular masculine person, and the last ha is an object pronoun, refers to Ash-Shams. Now this verb belongs to the form second of verbs, which now follows this pattern. So al-layl here meaning the night. Yaghshaha is the verb
غشية
that is to cover or to envelop in the present tense, that is in the third singular masculine person, and the last ha is an object pronoun, refers to Ash-Shams. Now this verb belongs to the basic form of verbs, and it is again a defective verb, That is here, when the night comes, the sun hides and its light remains hidden throughout the night. This state has been described saying that the night covers up the sun, for the night actually signifies the sun's hiding behind the horizon, because of which its light cannot reach that part of the earth where the night has fallen. Now the declension of these verses are: Washams is a prepositional phrase. Dhuhaha is linked with Ashams by the conjunction waw. Al-Qamar is linked with Ashams by the conjunction waw. The adverbial of time idha is an governing term in an idafa construction. Talaha is a verb in the past tense with its object and with a hidden subject. And the verb is a genitive term of idafa construction. The following verse is linked with the preceding one by the conjunction waw. Now the next 6 verses are: وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا طَحَاهَا وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. Meaning, and by the sky and that which built it, and by the earth and that which spread it, and by the soul and that which proportioned it, then inspired it its own wickedness and its own mindfulness. Surely successful is the one who has purified it, and surely failing is the one who has stunted it. As-sama here is the sky. Ma, or what, is a relative pronoun used in pronominal relative clauses to take the place of any noun within a sentence. The relative clause usually contains a referent, which may, however, occasionally be omitted. Banaha is the verb bana, that is to build or to construct, in the past tense, in the third singular masculine person. And the last ha is an object pronoun, refers to as-sama. Now this verb belongs to the basic form of verbs, and it is a defective verb. Meaning here could be for descriptive purposes, meaning by the heaven and its construction. And the same thing for the following verse. Al-ard here, meaning the earth. Tahaha is the verb taha, that is to spread out in the past tense. That is in the third singular masculine person. And the last ha is an object pronoun, refers to al-ard. Now this verse belongs to the basic form of verbs, and it is a defective verb. Nafs here, meaning self. Sawaha is the verb sawa, that is to proportion or to fashion, in the past tense, in the third singular masculine person. And the last ha is an object pronoun, refers to nafs. This verb belongs to the form second of verbs, which follows this pattern. That means he gave man such a body which, by virtue of its erect stature, its hands and feet, and its brain, was most appropriate for him to live as man in the world. He blessed him with the senses of sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell, which on account of their combination and their characteristics could become the best means of obtaining knowledge for him. He endowed him with the faculties of thinking, reasoning, imagination, memory, discrimination, judgment, willpower, and such other mental powers by virtue of which he is able to perform the functions fit for man in the world. In addition, proportioning also means that man was not created a sinner by birth and a criminal by instinct, but on right and sound nature, and was not characterized by any inborn crookedness, because of which he may be unable to adopt the right path, even if he wanted to do so.
ألهم
Is the verb here to inspire in the past tense, in the third singular masculine person. Now this verb belongs to the form fourth of verbs, which follows this pattern. Fujuraha, meaning its wickedness. Fujur is the wickedness from the verb fajara, to go aside from the right path, while taqwaha is its opposite. It means its mindfulness or its piety. That means through
الإلهام
the soul knows the two ways, the way of
الفجر
or the way of evil, and
التقوى.
or the way of good. Allah Ta'ala has thus implanted in human beings' nature a feeling or sense of what is good and bad. قد plus a verb in the past tense is used to indicate an earlier past time when the context already refers to the past. It gives the meaning of the English past perfect / pluperfect, that is, had done.
أفلح
Is the verb meaning to be successful in the past tense in the third singular masculine person. This verb belongs to the form fourth of verbs, which follows this pattern. Man is a relative pronoun that usually has an indefinite meaning, that is, whoever, one who, everyone who, he who, that is referring to one in particular, but it may also have a definite meaning. The one / who, those / these who, and refer to a specific person or persons, as in this verb. That is, although sometimes referring to no one in particular. Zakka is the verb meaning to purify in the past tense in the third singular masculine person, and the last ha is an object pronoun, refers to nafs. This verb belongs to the form second of verbs, which follows this pattern.
خاب
Is the verb meaning to meet with no success or to fail in the past tense in the third singular masculine person. Now this verb belongs to the basic form of verbs, and it is a hollow verb which has a weak middle radical between two strong radicals. Dassa is the verb meaning to corrupt or to stunt in the past tense in the third singular masculine person, and the last ha is an object pronoun, refers to nafs. Now this verb belongs to the form second of verbs, which follows this pattern. Now this could only mean that whoever purifies himself by obedience to Allah Ta'ala, then he will be successful, and whoever makes it dull and disregards it by neglecting to allow it to receive guidance, he will fail. The declension of these verses are: Sama is linked with Ash-Shams by the conjunction waw. The relative pronoun ma is a governing term in idhafa construction. Banaha is a verb in the past tense with its object and with a hidden subject. And the verb is the genitive term in idhafa construction. The next two verses are linked with the previous verse by the conjunction waw, so they have the same structure. Fa is a conjunction,
ألهمها
is a verb in the past tense with its object and with a hidden subject. Fujuraha is a second object of the verb. Taqwaha is linked with fujuraha by the conjunction wow. Qad is a particle of realization,
أفلح
is a verb in the past tense. The relative pronoun man is a subject of the verb. Zakkaha is a verb in the past tense with its object and with a hidden subject. And the verbal sentence is a relative clause to man. The following verse is linked with the preceding one by the conjunction of wow. Now the next three verses are كذبت ثمود بطغواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها, meaning Thamud denied their prophet by reason of their transgression when the most wicked man among them was delegated. Then the messenger of Allah said to them, the she-camel of Allah and its drink. كذبت is the verb كذب, that is to deny in the past tense, in the third singular feminine person. Now this verb belongs to the form second of verbs, which follows this pattern. Thamud are those whom Allah Ta'ala sent His messenger, Salih alayhi salam. Be is an unseparated preposition, means here of, by, or in. Taghwaha is a transgression, and the last ha is a possessive pronoun. Here Allah Ta'ala informs that Thamud rejected their messenger because of the injustice and transgression they practiced. Therefore this resulted in a rejection in their hearts for the guidance and conviction their messenger came to them with.
إذ
Meaning when, at the moment, at that time, is a demonstrative adverb that introduces an event or circumstance which occurs at the same time as or within the time span or another. It may imply that the event or circumstance is unexpected or surprising in some way. The event or circumstance introduced by
إذ
is usually already taken place, it therefore being typically expressed by a verbal sentence with the verb in the past tense.
انبعث
Is a verb meaning to raise up, to delegate, or to go forth in the past tense in the third singular masculine person. Now this verb belongs to the form seventh of verbs, which follows this pattern. Now verbs belongs to this form do not have a passive, since the active verb already has a reflexive or passive meaning. Ashqa is what we call an elative, a masculine elative from the verb
شقي
to be miserable or to be wretched in distress. The elative is used when comparing one member of a group with the whole group, or when comparing two members between themselves. You see, English has a separate form for the elatives. Arabic, however, has only one form, which is used for both. That is the elative, ashaq, meaning the most wicked. Meaning the most wicked person of the tribe, and he was
خدار بن سالف
the one who killed the she-camel. He was leader of the tribe of Thamud, and he is one whom Allah Ta'ala refers to in his saying. Qala is a verb meaning to say in the past tense in the third singular masculine person. Now this verb belongs to the basic form of verbs, and it is a hollow verb, which has a weak middle radical between two strong radicals. Lahum is a prepositional phrase consisting of la, the inseparable preposition, that is to or for. Here it introduces the indirect object of the verb, indicating the person which the action of the verb is directed, which is hum, that is them. Rasulullah, meaning the messenger of Allah. And Naqat Allah, that is the she camel of Allah,
سقياها
meaning giving the drink. And the last ha is a possessive pronoun, meaning that the messenger of Allah Ta'ala told them, beware of touching the she camel of Allah with any harm, and do not transgress against her in drinking, for she has been allocated a day to drink, and you have been allocated a day to drink, as is known to you. Now the declension of these verses are: كذبت is a verb in the past tense, Thamud is its subject, بطغواها is a prepositional phrase. The adverbial time
إذ
is a governing term in idhafa construction,
انبعث
is a verb in the past tense,
أشقاها
is its subject, and the verbal sentence is the genitive term in the idhafa construction. Fa is a conjunction. Qala is a verb in the past tense. Lahum is a prepositional phrase. Rasulullah is the subject of the verb, and it is an idhafa construction. Naqat Allah is the object of the verb, and it is an idhafa construction.
سقياها
Is linked with naqata by the conjunction waw. And now the last two verses are: فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها, meaning, so they denied him and hamstrung it, so their Lord crushed them for their misdeed and leveled it, and he does not fear its consequence. كذبوه is the verb كذب, meaning to deny, in the past tense, that is in the third plural masculine person. And the last
هو
means him, refers to the messenger of Allah. عقروها is the verb عقر, that is to hamstrung, in the past tense, in the third plural masculine person. And the last ha refers to the she camel of Allah. Now this verb belongs to the basic strong form of verbs, which all its radicals are strong or sound, meaning there is no weak letter between them. Damdama is the verb meaning to crush, to destroy, to obliterate, or to blot out, leaving no traces in the past tense. That is in the third singular masculine person. Now this verb is a quadrilateral verb, belongs to the basic strong form of verbs. Alayhim is a prepositional phrase, means upon them or on them. With ala is the preposition upon or on,
ربهم
meaning their Lord. Then bihim is their misdeed or their sin. Sawaha is the verb sawa, meaning to level or to raise to the ground in the past tense, in the third singular masculine person, he. Now this verb belongs to the form second of verbs, which follows this pattern, which means they rejected what he came with. This resulted in them killing the she camel that Allah Ta'ala had brought out the rock as a sign for them, and a proof against them. So their Lord became angry with them, and He annihilated them, and He made the punishment descend upon them all equally. Wa is a conjunction that links the circumstance clause to the main clause. We call it
واو الحالية
or wow of the circumstance. La is the most commonly negative particle used to negate a verb in the present tense. It immediately precedes the verb, which is here yakhaf. Yakhaf is the verb
خاف
meaning to fear in the present tense, in the third singular masculine person. Now this verb belongs to the basic form of verbs, and it is a hollow verb which has a weak middle radical between two strong radicals. عقباها meaning a consequence, and the last ha is a possessive pronoun. That is, Allah Ta'ala is not like the kings of the world and the rulers of governments, who, when they want to take some action against a people, are compelled to consider what will be the consequences of their action. Allah's power is supreme. He had no apprehension that some supporting power of the Thamud would come out to avenge itself on him. Now the declension of these verses are: Fa is a conjunction. كذبوه is a verb in the past tense with its subject and object. عقروها is linked with كذبوه by the conjunction. Fa damdama is a verb in the past tense. عليهم is a prepositional phrase.
ربهم
Is the subject of the verb. بذنبهم is a prepositional phrase. سواها is a verb in the past tense with its object and with a hidden subject. Wow here is the wow of the circumstance. La is a negative particle. Yakhaf is a verb in the present tense with a hidden subject. Uqbaha is its object, and the verbal sentence is a circumstantial clause.